Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for a learning and growing webinar on how to make an online course feel like a traditional classroom. Our presenter today is Professor Olivia Bizzacco from St. Charles Community College. My name is Sidra, and I'm a member of the marketing team here at Hawks Learning. We will have a Q&A session after the presentation, so please enter any questions you have into the Q&A module as we go, and we'll answer them at the end. I will now hand it over to our presenter.
Thank you so much. And hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get things rolling. So thank you all for being here. My name is Olivia Bizzacco, and I am an instructor of English at a couple different places right now. I teach traditional courses at St. Charles Community College in Missouri. I also teach online courses for Young Harris College out in Georgia and College of the Albemarle in North Carolina. So I am all over the place. But we are going to talk today about online courses, and more specifically, things we can do to make online courses feel more like a traditional classroom. So we are going to work through this, and hopefully you will take away some really cool things here. So let's start with my personal experience with online classes. And I want to look at it two different ways, me as a student and then me as an instructor. So as a student, honestly, I have only taken one online course as a student, and this was actually in my graduate program. That was the only one I've taken, and that was back in 2017. And it was scary. I was worried. Every single class I had taken up until that point was face-to-face, and I was comfortable with that. I preferred that, but this class that I particularly needed for my graduate program was only being offered online. And so I had a lot of anxiety. It was scary. It was, what do I do? How does this work? How do I meet people in this class? How do I remember to keep on top of my stuff? It was just very different. And I don't remember too much about that specific course now. There wasn't anything terribly memorable about it, but I do remember keeping on top of my work like crazy because I was just so worried about forgetting something because I didn't get those reminders. I didn't have that instructor in front of me. Then we come to my experience with online classes as an instructor. And first we'll start with me as a new instructor. So I started teaching at the community college level in 2018. And I was given online courses to teach. And I will be honest, I did not enjoy it at all. That first semester where I started teaching online classes, it was not an enjoyable experience for me. I felt like I had absolutely no connection with the students, and I witnessed the most student frustrations coming from these kids that were in my online classes. And this just made me never want to do it again. I did. After that first semester, I was like, I never want to teach online classes ever again. It was just a terrible experience for me. Then we come to now, 2022, and I like to call myself a seasoned instructor. And now I want them. Now, if I am offered an online course, I say, yes, please, give me them. Give me them all. I love them. So something has changed here. And that's what we're going to look like. Here's all the tips and trips and tips and tricks that I learned in order to improve my online classes and that experience, not only for myself, but for my students. And a question I asked myself is, what can I do to make this engaging? And I'm still asking myself these questions today. So how exactly did I get from where I am to where I am today? From not enjoying them in 2018 to 2022, loving them and preferring them. And so I asked myself two questions. How can I make online courses something that I don't dread? And how can I make them a better experience for students? Because they are important in this, just as important as the instructor. And so there were three things that really got things in motion for me in thinking about ways to make them feel a little more traditional. The first one that really got things moving for me was I attended the North Carolina Community College System Conference back in October 2018. When I was working full-time at a school out in North Carolina. I attended a session that talked exclusively about ways to improve your online class. Now, I wish I could give credit to this person who gave this panel. I have searched high and low. I have spent hours trying to find this program from October 2018 so I can give proper credit to this person who led this panel, and I could not find anything, no matter how hard I tried. So whoever gave that panel out there, thank you so much, because she talked about so many great things and they made a difference in how I teach online courses. But I also did my own little research, and I have found a couple different articles that I really enjoyed that gave me some ideas to think about things that I could do for an online class. In particular, I found a really great article called How Twitter Saved My Literature Class. And this was written by Andy Jones, who is from the University of California, Davis. And this led me to try some new things to do in online classes, specifically with moving away from that to reply discussion board that many of us are so accustomed to. And then finally, and this one seems pretty interesting and out there, but I actually streamed for a while on Twitch. And if you are not familiar with Twitch, Twitch is an online streaming platform that a lot of people use to live stream games or in real life events, things like that. And so I actually did stream some games for about a year on Twitch, and I actually learned a lot from it. And I found some really cool things from my experiences with Twitch that I can actually use for my classes, and in particular, my online classes. So here are 6 things that I have found to be helpful in making your online classes feel more traditional. And so the first one is videos, and it is number 1 for a reason. We are going to spend a lot of time talking about videos, but I also think reliable equipment and software plays a role. Email, which sounds really vague, but we will talk about it. This idea of ask me anything, help options, and then finally, social media. We're going to start with videos. This is the big one. This was the absolute game changer in how I teach online classes. A lot of it goes towards videos. I strongly recommend making videos for your online students. I currently make 4 different types of videos, and we are going to look at each one of them closer. There's this idea of video and audio feedback. So this is an option to provide a different kind of feedback on major assignments for your students. We also have this idea of how-to videos, which are short videos to help my students with things they might be struggling with. Lesson videos, if I have any slideshows or anything like that, make a video of me going through it. And then finally, weekly videos. And this one is probably one of the most successful and helpful things in my online classes. So we will start with this idea of how-to videos. This is great for everyone. This is great for your first-time student who has never taken a college class or an online class. And it's also great for students who are continuing on with their education. And so I make these how-to videos for various things. And you can see on the right side of the screen here, this is how my little how-to section on my course page is formatted for my students. So this is what they see. And I have a lot of different categories here, and I like to make sure it's nice and neat and organized and color coded. And so I start with how to turn in different assignments, because I have noticed that some students, especially the first time students, they don't know how to submit an assignment on Moodle, on Canvas, on Blackboard. So I just make a quick video of me walking through it from a student view. Here's how you're going to turn in an assignment. How to view essay feedback. So again, I am an English instructor, so some of these videos I make are very particular for the courses I teach. So since the majority of the courses I teach are focused on writing essays, I want to make sure my students know how to see my feedback. Accessing academic databases is important for my English classes as well. And then also I do have 2 categories here specifically for Word documents and Google Docs, because my students use both of these a lot in a writing class. So I do make videos on how to do particular things on a Word document or a Google Doc. My 2 biggest things that I notice students struggling with are adding last name and page numbers into documents, which is important for MLA formatting that we use in class, and then how to do a proper hanging indent when it comes to creating proper works cited pages. So I do provide videos as well as just some websites that give them more information. I also have one example of a video here. We probably won't watch all of it, but I'll keep the volume low. But it's literally just me walking through the steps to turn in an assignment. So we go through it. I just share my screen with them so they can see how to submit an assignment. And this video is no more than 2 minutes in length. And so they can access that, quickly watch me go through it, and then they get a chance to do it as well. So this proves to be very helpful. Then we come to weekly videos. I love making weekly videos. I strongly recommend this idea for everyone. Now, you could do it a couple different ways, and I have done this a couple different ways. These are really great to include at the start of a new unit, module, or week, depending on how you format your course. So some of my courses, we start a new unit every week. Sometimes we spend multiple weeks in a specific unit. So these are really great to include at the start of, a new lesson that you are starting in your class. So students get to see the instructor and the course page on the same screen, and it serves to go over what exactly they are going to complete in this unit. So I do like making these. You're going to see a couple different things here. So to start, let's talk about this image on the top. So this is where my experience with live streaming comes into play. So I did use a streaming software called Streamlabs, and I still use it. And that's what I used to do my live streaming. But I've also discovered that this is something I can use when I make my videos for my students. So Streamlabs is a streaming software, and it is used to go live on platforms such as Twitch, YouTube, and even Facebook. But you can also just use it to create some pretty nice videos. And we will look at that closer in a bit. But then we also have YouTube itself. So some of the videos I make are shorter than others, and some are very long. So depending on the length of your videos, you can either upload them to YouTube and then just share the link with your students, or you can upload them directly onto your LMS. In my experience with Moodle specifically, I can do short videos straight onto the LMS server, but for longer videos, it usually can't upload them, and that's okay. And that's where I turn to YouTube. So in my experience, the first video I make for my online classes is a lot longer than any video that follows. These first videos, because I just want to cover so much information with them. Like, hi, welcome to the class. Let's go through the syllabus. Let's talk about some other important things you need to know. And so this video can be anywhere from, it says 8 to 10 minutes, but honestly, I think this one here is 12 minutes long. I just want to make sure that I'm covering everything I need to cover. Everything after that is only 1 to 3 minutes in length. So here's an example of a video. We're not going to watch all 12 minutes of it, I promise. But this is the first video that my current creative writing students get to see in my class. Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to the fall semester and welcome to English 1.
Would it be possible to increase the volume a little bit?
Increase the volume?
Yep.
I have it all the way up. I won't watch all of it. I'm sorry that the volume is a little low, but essentially it's just a chance for you to see how that video would actually look, because you do get to see it here on the streaming software, but then you get to see it down here as well. So you can see I have a couple things going on here, which we are also going to talk about in a minute. So here is a closer look at Streamlabs and that specific streaming software. Now, there are other video softwares that you can use. This is not the only one. This one is a little more complicated, but it's comfortable for me because I have already been using it for so long. So I just want to show you a couple different things here. So up top, of course, is where you can see my layout. That's what the video would look like for my students. So you can make fun little backgrounds. I have my camera here. I also have a camera for my dogs. I've found this to be very successful. My students like seeing my dogs on the dog cam, so why not? And then of course, right here is my screen share of, their class page. Down here in scenes, that's where I can make different layouts for my different classes. So right now this is the English 111 screen, but I can have a separate one for my literature classes. I can have a separate one for my creative writing classes. Sources is where I'm going to have all of my things that make up that video. So you can see I have my camera here, my dog camera here, my microphone, my audio output, my desktop capture, which is the class itself, and then the background, this colorful background I have, so I can put all those components there. And the mixer is going to be exclusively for my audio. So I have my microphone, of course. I also have this thing called audio output capture. That's some background music that I play. I think I like a little background music when it comes to making these videos, so it's a little more cozy and comfortable for my students. Then we come to lesson videos. I like to make some videos going through some of the lessons that I have for my students. And so there are some units that we have where they have to go through and review a slideshow. And I have some slideshows for learning MLA format as well as citations. So they can choose between two options. They can choose to go through the slideshow without commentary, so just the slideshow itself, or I give them the option of going through a video of the slideshow. So it's me talking through it. And I found a lot of students find this to be very helpful. Something else that I do is I provide audio files for any readings that students have to do. And this I do a lot for my literature classes as well as creative writing classes. This can prove beneficial if you have students reading things out loud in a normal class. You could, provide these audio recordings. I have found LibriVox, if you have heard of it, to be amazing when it comes to finding free audio recordings of specifically literature. So LibriVox has been my go-to when it comes to finding things for my classes. And there are some times where I can't find something on there. So that's usually when I turn to YouTube. YouTube also has a wide selection of audio recordings that can prove to be very, very helpful. So that's a little bit about the lesson videos. Oops. Okay, then we come to audio and video feedback. This is something I do for major assignments in my class. And so for me, it's going to be essays, but you can do this for other classes as well. So I do like to give my students an option of audio or video feedback. This can help with that traditional experience. Something that I do for my face-to-face classes is my students have to meet with me one-on-one for every essay that they write. And I provide feedback on their essay, and this is a chance for us to just meet individually. They can ask questions about their work. I can show them my feedback. We can talk through it together. My online students don't get to do this because there is no requirement for meeting face-to-face or even virtually. So I try this instead. So I have experience with Turnitin, and Turnitin does allow instructors to record voice comments while providing feedback on assignments. So that will be at the top. It'll look something like this. You can record. You can also trash it if it didn't go exactly as planned and re-record again. You can record up to 3 minutes of audio, and again, you can delete it if necessary. So if I have a voice comment here, the student can see it's about a minute in length. I can also provide a text comment to go with it. Additionally, we come to Canvas assignments. The majority of my experience right now is with Moodle and Canvas. I have not worked with Blackboard in a long time, and I know there are other LMSs out there too, which probably have very similar options for instructors. So Canvas assignments do allow instructors to record video feedback or upload audio and video feedback. So you can see this button here. That's where you can go ahead and record either audio or video. We also have another button here for speech recognition. If you are someone who wants to have your speech dictated into this text box, that's an option as well, which is really cool. So if I want to record either video or audio feedback, I would hit this button and it'll open up something like this, where I can record the media right then and there. It'll open up my camera and give me access to my mic and camera as well. Or I can choose this second one to upload something that I have already recorded and then just go and submit it there. Now, that's a little bit about videos, but how does this impact the students? I think it impacts them in a lot of ways. By incorporating videos into online classes, it can make this a lot more personable for your students because they get a chance to see you. They get a chance to hear you in every week or every unit. And with audio and video feedback on assignments, the student knows that you are specifically addressing them and them alone, which can be really awesome for them. Students are also going to get comfortable in your class. Again, they get to see you, they get to hear you, they get to witness your specific enthusiasm and personality, which can really help calm them down and put them at ease, especially in that first week when their tensions and worries are at an all-time high because they don't know what to expect in this class. This can also be very, very helpful for auditory learners. So students who learn best by hearing something, by having those videos of me walking through assignments or walking through slideshows, that can really help with their experience of understanding that course material. Number two is reliable equipment and software. And this one can kind of be tricky, and we're going to talk about it. But I do want to say before I start that I do have two QR codes here that you can scan with your phone. One provides an article on some of the best webcams for instructors, and the other one is an article for the best microphones for instructors. But I'll also talk about some of the equipment that I have. And we'll look at cameras, microphones, and then we're going to come back to that video software. So cameras, quality, I think, is really important. I think it is nice to have a nice, sharp and clear camera. So obviously I can't show you the one that I am currently using, but it is one, I think it's the number one on the articles for webcams. It's the Logitech C922, and it is actually on sale right now on Amazon, which is great. I also use, this is the camera I use for my dog cam. This is also on that same article. This is the Razer Kio camera, and it has a built-in ring light, which is really cool because lighting is also important. I have a small one up here, but the Razer Kio has a built-in ring light, which is really cool. So that's something to check out. Quality is definitely important. Microphone, I have a whole thing going on here. A lot of this equipment is from when I used to stream, and I found it to just be as helpful when I teach my online classes. What I am currently using right now, it's called the Elgato Wave 2. This is a little bit pricier, but there are a lot of more affordable options when it comes to a microphone. This is what I used to use before I upgraded to my Elgato camera. This is the Blue Snowball, and I'm pretty sure it's on that article for microphones. This one runs at about $50, but there might be some cheaper options as well if you are looking for that. Then we come to video software. I already talked about Streamlabs, but however, I've heard a lot of instructors that like some other options, and all of these are free, which is great. I've heard of Screencastify. I've heard of Loom, Vimeo. OBS is very similar to Streamlabs. That's also a streaming software. Flip and VoiceThread. I recommend checking all of these out. Again, they are free, and some of them are a lot easier to use than Streamlabs and OBS might be, since I'm a little more technical at this point. But I definitely recommend checking these out. Now, the elephant in the room, of course, with buying equipment and nicer equipment is this is expensive. I don't have that kind of money. And that's okay. And that's okay. If you have the option of getting any kind of funding through your college, that's something to consider. However, I do want to make you aware of this really, really cool website that I found a couple years ago. It's called ID Me. More specifically, shop.id.me. I don't remember how I found this, but this is a website that if you can prove that you are in the military or a nurse or a responder or a teacher, government, medical, student, if you can prove one of these, they're going to bring up all of the websites that are doing specific discounts and deals for your specific profession. So you create an account. I think they ask for a picture, for you to upload a picture of your teaching ID, and then they approve it and you have access. So we're going to open this up. I just want to show you what it looks like because it's kind of cool. So this is the website. And if I browse the offers by group, I'm going to just look at all the teacher ones right now. They're going to show you first the new teacher discounts that they have available. But if you go down here, they also have the top teacher discounts available. Under Armour, you can get 40% off their products, which is cool. Samsung up to 30% off, 30% off Adidas, Verizon. They have mattresses, food things, bows. I know actually Razer, the company that makes this camera and other microphones and stuff, they are on here as well, which is cool. So I definitely recommend looking into this site, make that account. Do it. There's so many great discounts and deals, and I am checking it pretty much every week anytime I am looking to purchase something online. Shop ID Me. I definitely recommend it, and it might be helpful in finding some products to use to improve these online courses. Number 3 is email, and that's big, but I want to talk about 2 key items when it comes to email. We're all emailing. We do it every day, and it's just necessary to do in a college classroom. So weekly emails. I do try to send an email out at the start of every new week for my classes, whether or not we're starting a new module or unit, or if we're in the middle of it, I do email them on the same day every week. It's usually the day after an assignment is due, because I do like to keep my assignment due dates uniform. So they have something due every Monday night of every week or every Sunday night. And so that following day, I'm going to email them just to make sure, like, hey, I haven't forgot about you. I'm still here. I know you feel like you're out in space because it's an online class, but I'm here. Here's my email. Here's what we're doing this week. Here's a rundown of the assignments. Don't forget these due dates. Something else I do is an assignment during week 1 that I love to call the How to Write an Email to an Instructor assignment. I created this a couple years ago and I have shared it with colleagues before, but this is an assignment my students complete in week 1. And this is not only for online classes. I have all my classes do this every semester. It's just to show them how to properly send an email to an instructor, but this also gives me a chance to meet my students individually. So here is what the assignment looks like. So I start with the objective so they know exactly why they are doing this and why it's important to know how to send a proper email. And then I give them the do's and the don'ts of sending a proper email to an instructor. So I have my do section here, and then I also provide a picture example of a nicely crafted email from a student to me so they can see what I am expecting when it comes to them sending me emails. I also have the don'ts listed here because those are important as well. And so I pulled this from past emails that have been sent to me so they know what not to do. I do give them 2 different image examples as well of 2 poorly written emails and things they should not be doing when they go to complete this assignment, as well as emailing me throughout the semester. And then finally comes the directions. So they know that they have to use their school email. They're going to email me and use the proper etiquette. I tell them what exactly I want to do in what I want them to do in the content of their email. I provide my email, and then I list the requirements there. So they know they have to have a subject line, and it needs to say email assignment. So I know that this is them completing the assignment. A salutation, tell me what class you are in. This one's very important for me because I teach at a couple different colleges right now, and I have probably over 100 students, and it's going to take me a little bit of time to figure out who is in what class. So I do tell them, when you email me, just say which class you're in. You can say the number and the section number, or you can say the 101 class that meets on Tuesdays, Thursdays at this time, just something so I know exactly which class you are in. Making sure they use proper spelling and grammar. And then of course, make sure you sign off with your name at the end. I love this assignment. I swear by it. I think it just gives them a chance to introduce themselves to you, but also a chance for them to understand how to properly email instructors because it is so important. Number 4 is ask me anything. And I like this. I think this is helpful as well. This is something I do also in week 1. And this is particularly in a discussion forum that I have for all of my online classes, which is, that course introductions discussion forum. Introduce yourselves to the class. I maybe have them answer a couple questions about why do you think it's important to learn academic writing, or why do you think it's important to read and understand older literature. But then one of the things that I require them to do in this discussion forum is ask me anything. I want them to ask me at least 1 to 2 questions that they have, either about myself or about the course. So I do like my students to get to know me. I want them to be comfortable with me. So you can ask me something about myself and I would be happy to talk to you about it. Or ask me something about the class, which gives them a chance to ease their nerves. If they ask a question about something they're really worried about in my class, they can ask and I can address that. Lets them get comfortable with me, and it shows them that I am a human just like them. I'm a person too. I'm not just an instructor who does this 24/7. So here are some of the top questions that are generally asked in this discussion forum throughout all of my classes. The biggest one that I see every semester is, what inspired you to become a college instructor? And I enjoy answering that question. I also get some other ones that are particular to the course or things we're going to learn about. So in literature and creative writing, I've had students ask who my favorite author is, or what are some of my favorite books, or I do get every once in a while, oh, do you teach any other classes? Because they're genuinely interested. But then I also really look forward to the ones they ask particularly about me. So I get, oh, where are you from? Or do you have any pets? Which I love when they ask that, because I love sharing pictures of my dogs. And what do you like to do in your spare time is a great question. I always hope that somebody asks this, because I want to, like, hey, we might have some similar interests. And then they can be like, wow, this is great. I have something in common with my instructor. I feel so much better now. And what do you like to write? Since a lot of what I do is teach writing classes. So it's really cool for me to open up to them and them to open up to me through this idea of the ask me anything. And usually, in my experience, when I do online classes, it's in a discussion forum for my traditional classes. This is something I put them in small groups on day one, and I say, work together, come up with 10 questions you have about me or about the class. And at first, nobody really wants to ask any. They're all shy. But then as soon as one person does and I start talking, then they just start bouncing all their questions off of one another. And it's a lot of fun. It's like a cute little press conference. But yeah, I find the Ask Me Anything to be helpful in face-to-face as well as online classes. Number 5 is help options. I had previously titled this office hours, but this is more of just getting help in general from these online students. Let's provide them options. Let's give them a couple different options or whatever might work best for you. So I have heard about the Q&A discussion forum. I have seen this a lot on pre-built courses. It's a discussion board that's just for students to ask any questions they have that maybe aren't pertain to something in particular we're doing in that unit. So that can be helpful, and anybody can go in there and answer them. Another student who might have an answer right away, or the instructor can go in and answer. You could also have a frequently asked questions document. This could be Word document, Google Doc, whatever, but the instructor can input frequently asked questions. So anytime someone's asking a question, we can have a document, and you can build this from semester to semester to semester and have this whole thing. So if they do have questions, we can guide them there first. And if it's not on there, then let's talk about it. And then finally, virtual office hours. We all do office hours, and sometimes we get the option of doing some virtual or offering virtual office hours for our students who are specifically in these online courses. So we can provide students an option to meet with us on Zoom or on Microsoft Teams or on Blackboard Collaborate. We can use the chat feature if they just want to pop in and send a quick chat, or they can say, hey, I would actually like to meet virtually, and we can set up a day and time to do that. We're going to come back to that in just a minute. I do want you to think about organization when it comes to my student is struggling or they're lost. I think organization, how you have your course structured, can be very helpful. Now here, this is for Moodle. That's where I have my most experience, and I have a lot of fun learning Moodle and organizing my stuff so my students can find things right away. So I have 4 sections that I include in every single one of my courses. The first one is the course information section, and these are collapsible topics, so you can hit the arrow and it'll open up the entire thing. Course information section is where my students can find the course syllabus. They can find the textbook information. I also include a Meet Your Instructor page so they can get to know me as well and learn more about me. Then we have the need assistance section, which I really like. This is where they can get their help. So this is where I keep my contact information. This is where I have all of my student hours information and tutoring options. This is where you could put that frequently asked questions document or that specific discussion board for asking questions and getting help. Then I have the how-to section. You already saw that. That's just where I put all my links for things that students might need help with. And then the sources and citations section, specifically for my writing classes, because this is something that's so important and takes up a good chunk of the class. I do provide some resources specific to learning about different sources and citations. We already looked at this how-to section, but there it is again. That's what it looks like when they open it up. And then this right here is the sources and citations guide. So if they open this up, here's a link to get to the academic databases. Here are some links to help you with evaluating sources. Here are some links and some slideshows that I've created for specific help with MLA citations, how to do in-text citations, how to make a works cited page, and of course the Purdue OWL website, which is fantastic. And I also provide them some citation generators because there are dozens of them out there. Some are better than others. My favorite right now is MyBib. If you are looking into this, definitely check it out. MyBib is a really cool and new site that works with Google Docs and then Citation Machine. Going back to virtual office hours, I also call them student hours. I have discovered this website called Calendly, which I definitely recommend you check out. It is a free online appointment scheduling software. This is great for students to schedule a virtual or an in-person meeting with you. You can do a lot of cool things with Calendly. You can connect your Zoom or Teams or other things that you use to the event that you create so students can select an option that's best for them. And it really does just allow for easy scheduling. So I provide my Calendly link for my students. It says like, hey, if you want to meet with me, click on this and schedule. So if they click on this link, this is what it looks like for them. So it says student hours. It gives a little description. I have them at 30 minutes. And then right here is where they can select a day and time to meet with me. So if they want to meet with me on September 13th, they can click that and it's going to show all of the times that I am available. So they can click on whichever one works for them. They can hit confirm. And then they need to enter a couple more details before it is booked. I need their name. I want their email. I want their location. Right now, I work at colleges where some use Zoom and some use Microsoft Teams. So I like to give them, the option that is preferred for them. You can also input some different questions here. So one I have right now, because again, I am at a couple different places, I say that, hey, just as a reminder, I work at 3 different colleges. Please state which college you attend as well as what class you are enrolled in with me. So they can say I'm at COA, I'm in your 011 class, or I'm at SCC and I'm in your 101 class. That would be helpful. And then I do want them to tell me a little bit about what you're meeting with me for. What do you need help with? And then they can schedule the event. I will get an email notification that it was scheduled. They will get one. They will also get email reminders as well. So that's what it looks like from the student perspective. This is what it looks like from my perspective. So my event types, the only event I have right now is just for my office hours, but I can go in here and I can edit it so you can see how it is put together. So they want to know what kind of an event is this? You give it a name. The locations, again, you can choose multiple. So I could have it as this is an in-person meeting or this is a phone call. I can also do Google Meets and WebEx in here, which is cool. I create my description. You can also customize the event link. So I just made it say student hours. You can also choose the color, which is kind of cool. When can people book this event? They give you a lot of really cool options here, which I like. The date range is important. They can schedule, I have it at 60 days into the future. You can also set within a date range or just indefinitely if you want to keep it open. And then we have duration. I like 30 minutes. I think 30 minutes is a good number, but you could have 15 or 60 or custom. It's up to you. How do you want to offer your availability? You can create your own custom hours or an existing schedule. I made one earlier and I just had it as my fall 2022 hours. And that's what it looks like here. So there's the days and the times that I am specifically available to meet, the times where I am not teaching. Do you want to add time before your events? This is actually pretty nice. So if you have some events that are back to back, do you want a buffer where you get a little bit of time to get up, stretch, get some water, do what you need to do before you jump right back into a meeting? So I have it as 15 minutes before and after. Then there are also some additional rules that you can add here that I like. The start time, you can do available start times in increments of 30 minutes, 15, 20, an hour. I think 30 is fine. I really like the scheduling conditions here. I think this is also important. Invitees can't schedule within however many hours of an event start time. I set mine at 2 hours. This is in case I am out and about. I am outside somewhere doing something. And this way I don't get an alert that says, hey, someone's scheduled to meet with you in 5 minutes and I am nowhere near home. I don't want that to happen. So I set it for 2 in case I am out. I get an alert that says, hey, somebody wants to meet in 2 hours. Okay, that gives me time to finish what I'm doing, get where I need to be and get ready for it. Time zone display, definitely important. Automatically detect it. For me, I live in Central Time, but 2 of the colleges I am working for are in the Eastern Time zone. So I definitely like to make sure that all of the hours are correct and there's no confusion there. And then you come down to the additional options, those questions. Again, you can require them to input name and email, require them to say the location. You can also add new questions. You can take things out. I think they have some already for you before you start customizing it. So I added that one specifically. I think that one is one of the ones they already just implement, but you can remove it if you don't want it. So I really like Calendly. I think this is really cool. I just discovered it. Excuse me. I think last year. So this is something new and I really like this option. It works well for all of my students and all of the colleges I work at. All right, finally is social media. Discussion boards. They are common, they are popular, they are preferred for online courses, which is great. I have no issues with discussion boards. I know some people don't like them because they're overused or students don't like them, but I think they can be helpful in certain situations. They can be great for icebreaker activities. They can be great for Q&As. They can be really great for weekly assignments. It ensures in student interaction and it lets them absorb and share ideas. But I have tried to move away from discussion boards and look more at social media. My students are all using social media. I like to do things that they are interested in and implement them in my course. So I have used Twitter and TikTok and currently Flipgrid. Twitter has been really great for my literature classes. TikTok, which you might be familiar with, this is very popular right now with students. It is a video sharing platform where they can create videos, share them, see videos. And then Flipgrid is not really social media, but it is a site that does allow for video discussions among a group. So let's briefly talk about Twitter and literature. I use this exclusively for my online lit classes. It is great. Every week, my students are given a weekly Twitter prompt based off of what we are reading, and they have to provide their response on their Twitter page. And they do have to use a weekly hashtag that I make a new one every week so I can find their responses, but students in the class can also find each other's responses. So then they also have to respond to so many other students. So if I give them the prompt of looking at William Cullen Bryant, one of his poems, and connecting it to a song, I might ask them, what's another song right now that carries traits of romanticism? And so here is an example of a previous response a student gave. You know, they followed the directions. This is what it would look like on Twitter. They use the hashtag so others can find their post. And here's a response. This is kind of cool because students are already familiar with Twitter. So why not implement it in a course? TikTok is something I just started using. This is actually a lot of fun in academic writing classes, specifically with the visual analysis essay that I teach my students. So the visual analysis essay does ask them to analyze an advertisement. And so we spend time learning about the elements of advertising. And then they complete an activity called the commercial, where on TikTok, they have to film a 1-minute commercial using so many of the different elements of advertising that we used about. Unfortunately, I don't have an example of this one because my students took them down shortly after I graded them because they were embarrassed that all of their friends would see it. But this was a lot of fun for them because they were already familiar with it. And it was a new and engaging way to get them involved with the materials that we were learning about. Finally, last but not least, Flipgrid. I have just started using this in my creative writing courses because creative writing courses require so much interaction that they are best held in person, but I am teaching it online. So I was thinking of ways that I could make this interactive for my online students. So I am using Flipgrid for this class currently. Flipgrid, it's also called Flip. It allows students to upload videos to a topic that I create. They respond to whatever I am telling them to respond to. Students in the class can watch each other's videos and also respond as well. This is really great for creative writing because it does let my students get a chance to see and hear one another. So this is what it might look like. This is my Flipgrid page for my students right now in my creative writing class. There it is. This is what it looks like. Right now, there's only one discussion that has been used because we haven't had a chance to start our workshops yet. But if I go in here, I can see all of my students who have responded to this extra credit discussion. We can watch each other's videos. Students can make comment on each other's videos. And then here, we're about to start our poetry workshop this week. So what they have to do is they submit poems, and everyone in the class reads each other's poems, but they also have to respond to each other's poems. So if Mason submits his poems, this spot here might be for him, poetry workshop for Mason. And everyone's going to make a video addressing Mason and what they like about his poems and what they think could be improved. And they're going to put their videos for Mason in here. This might be Jay's. So they make a video for Jay and address his poems and they upload it here. And then Mason can go in and watch everyone's videos for his poems, or Jay can go in and watch everyone's videos talking about his poems. And I think this is going to be the most effective way right now to make this creative writing class engaging for them. Okay. Woo, we just made it. So I will answer questions now. And if you have anything you want to share about things that have worked for you, that would be very, very helpful. I also have my email here in case you want to get a hold of me. And this QR code will lead you to my LinkedIn page. So thank you for listening. And I am happy to talk.
All right, so we have a couple people asking, do you reuse videos from semester to semester for a course that hasn't changed, or do you generate new ones each semester?
That depends, actually. That's a great question. If it's my how-to videos and some of my slideshow videos, I can reuse those because most of that content is staying the same. Now, when it comes to those weekly videos, that's where I do have to make them new because the due dates are always changing. And I know I specifically address certain due dates. So those are ones that I do remake every semester.
That's fair enough. So we have one person sharing that they've been using how-to videos for years. However, their trick for ensuring that students actually watched them was they would embed a hidden code or a word in them that can be used as a graded quiz
Mhm.
to ensure accountability. They say it also helps to gamify the process and provide students with an early win by providing 100% on a quiz. Any
Oh,
thoughts on
wow.
that?
Yeah, that's actually really awesome. I love that. I love when we get to share new ideas. Um, the trick, I have to read it again, sorry. um, Hidden code words in the videos to ensure accountability. Okay, that's really cool. So something that I do for my week one videos, and I have done for several years, is it's a longer video, and I know some students won't watch it. And so I say in the video, hey, there's a quiz that follows this. You need to take it and you need to get 100%. And everything that's on that quiz, I'm addressing in this video. And so that ensures that they're watching it, and they have to watch it multiple times sometimes. But I do like to pair a quiz with that first week video, and it'll ask questions about things I've said in the video as well as things in the syllabus. So this gets them to watch it and also to start learning the format for the course. So I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, someone mentioned it's like Easter eggs on a website.
That's so fun. I love that. I love that. I love that. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
Okay, so we have one person asking about the email instructions. How do you respond if a student doesn't follow the instructions?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I tell my students, email me, I will email you back, and I will address what you're saying in the email. I will also end it with, thank you for completing this assignment. Your grade has been recorded. So if I notice that they missed one of their requirements, I might mention it in the actual email that I send back to them, like, hey, just make sure you're following the directions. This asked for this to be called email assignment. I also have a little rubric I created. So when I go to grade that assignment, they can check that out and say, oh, I missed points here. What did I do wrong? And they can look there. But I do give them a chance to do it again if they did slip up, or if they say, hey, I missed something. Can I do it again? I'll say, sure, that's fine.
That's fair. Okay, so someone really likes the idea of using social media, but since they're not part of the institution's LMS, how do you manage student privacy and FERPA policies?
Oh, that's a really good question. So as of to date, I have not had any issues with the incorporation of social media. I was nervous when I first started using Twitter, regarding what if I have a student that has never used it before and they don't want to do it, or what if someone says, hey, I can't have one or something. Now, I'm I haven't found a solution to that just yet because it hasn't happened yet, but I am going to start looking at that. But I do, for Twitter specifically, I tell them they have to create a new Twitter account using their school email. I tell them, I don't want to see your personal account. Do not use your personal account. And so they do create one specifically for the class. When it comes to their username, just do your first name, last initial, that's fine. I haven't had any other issues, but that is something that I do need to think about further. So thank you.
It's definitely good stuff to know.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it for all of the questions. Thank you so much, Professor, and thank you all for attending today. If any of you or your fellow instructors are interested in presenting for our Learning and Growing webinar series, please submit your proposal to the Learning and Growing website, which I'm going to go ahead and link in the chat right now. Give me 1 second. All right, and we will be emailing you a link to view the recording of this webinar. I know there are a ton of great resources shared, so if you did miss out on something, you can definitely check the recording for that. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your day.
Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, it was a pleasure working with you. I'm going to go ahead and close out the webinar for now.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.